Okay, I'd like to invite or welcome people to this meeting. We have, for those who haven't heard yet, Charlie that was going to give the clinic has just got home recently from being in the hospital, and so we're not expecting him to log in today. I always say family first, health first, get your personal things taken care of. This is just a hobby. We love it, but you need to take care of yourself. So I've got, let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, if people click on Jim's window on the ... thing, you should be able to pin him. And if you do that, then that's all you'll see, and it'll become full screen for your display.
So remember, last year we had this set up in Evanston, and one of the things that I really had a lot of fun doing is bringing some crazy different trains. And I know other people have one of these, but I really like this aero train. And I'll run it around in a minute, but I'm getting it set up. But let's get started with some introductions and see what people have been up to. Mike, go ahead with you start. What have you been up to this month?
I've managed to finish getting occupancy detection into my system. I replaced all my old NCE BD20s with the product that comes from Seth Newman's shop, because they've got an adjustable pot on them so you can make them more sensitive, because the 10K resistor on an N scale piece of freight doesn't give you a signal on the NCE BD20s. So I just finished installing 14 of those, and that's pretty much what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks.
Nice. Dalen, you on?
Yeah, I'm here. Part of my involvement has also been with that group down in Orem with the Fremo group. Jim's modules are actually tied to mine. So we've been working on that, and then I've been working on helping a couple people down here with trying to get operations starting again. We're not certain that things are going to be the same as they were before COVID hit. So we're kind of revamping some projects and revamping scenarios and crew loads and whatnot, but we're hoping to kind of get back into that. So we'll kind of see where that leads. That's it for me.
Okay, Lane.
He stepped away.
Okay. What about is Jack on?
Yep.
Jack is on.
What have you been up to?
Not much on trains. We're now trying to put our house back to the way it once was. So just a lot of that kind of stuff.
How about John? I see John's on.
We got John Hall and John Pratt.
Either one.
I'm John. I'm new. I haven't been here before.
Okay, welcome.
I have an N scale layout in my basement, in a room, and I haven't worked on it for a year. So I'm trying to get enthusiastic and get back to it. I've been, frankly, undergoing some prostate cancer treatments, which has left me without a lot of energy. So
I understand.
just trying to get back and get back into it. I've not been on one of these before.
Okay, well, welcome. We're not gonna have as I said, a main clinic like we normally do, but we'll get some trains here. What about the other John?
He doesn't have a mic. He just posted in the chat. If people
Okay,
says that he does S scale, but not American Flyer or High Rail S. He's using code 100 or less rail, and it's hand laid.
nice.
Nice, yeah.
He's building a modular layout so he can take it to shows.
Okay, as I'll be showing in a minute here, this is HO Fremo that's modular, and it's kind of fun for me. I've only built a small section, but I'm able to bring it to shows and have fun with it.
You're not showing anything, Jim.
I know, because I'm trying to get it to work first.
Okay.
Charlie,
Hello.
what have you been up to?
A lot of ballasting in my steam locomotive servicing facility, roundhouse. And that's about all.
Okay, well, that's quite a bit. Lindsay,
Hello, everybody. Let me jump on here. Last week I was down with the Wasatch N Scale in help me out. Starts with an A. Down above Provo at the University Mall.
Orem.
Orem, yeah, there we go. Thank you.
Had to
And
set
you
up.
were there, saw you there.
Yeah.
For the next couple of weeks, I'll be working on my, I'm building a module I do not have a module yet, but I'm getting close. Today, I'm trying to make all the points functional and get the throwouts on it. It is all wired, and hope to be going to, we're going to a show in Cheyenne in mid-May. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice. Lou. Is Lou still on?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, I'm just trying to unmute myself. I've been pretty busy. I just finished up about an 18-inch by 40-inch baseboard made out of, called Comatex. It's similar to Sintra. I'm setting up a little N scale switching layout to just sit on a shelf in my living room. I was able to get some, one of the guys here in our, for those of you who don't know, I'm out in the Sacramento area now. One of the guys in the Bay Area is moving to Texas. Chris Palermo, some of you might know Chris. He was just elected as the at-large, I can't remember, at-large director for North America for NMRA. Anyway, he was getting rid of his layout and had a whole bunch of Seavers bench work. So I ran down to the Bay Area and got that from him. He was just giving it away. It's like, I'll take that. So I'll be working on my HO layout. And if you get out to the Sacramento area to the California State Railroad Museum, the NMRA layout and display is now open, and I'm part of the team that will help maintain that.
Sorry, Lou, have you been to since it's been open?
No, it's opening just this weekend to the public. So it's been open. They've had kind of a soft opening, but they have the display is set up and everything there. At the NMRA website, I think there's a link to show. It's just a small loop that's very interesting in that it shows the way it's designed. One end is not finished, and the other end is fully finished. So you can visitors can see what the kind of almost a start to finish. And then there's a whole bunch of displays around the gallery, stuff from all over, a lot of, there's oh God, I just forgot the name of the guy down in the Monterey area who had the invented the switching nightmare, or anyway,
John Allen?
his name just John Allen.
Time
There's a
saver.
lot of stuff from John Allen and a number of the layouts there. It's going to be real interesting if you get there. So I'm part of the team to help
I don't think
fix
so.
that.
But
And then
Or-
the other thing that our division here has done is they have purchased a set of
my business card.
fast tracks,
Okay.
fast tracks jigs to make available to the members that want to work on their civil towards MMR. So that's been very interesting, and I've been involved helping them get that going. So anyway, that's what's going on out here in California. I'm hoping to get back to Utah, hopefully this summer, to come visit everybody. And I will try to plan it around the NUD meeting so I can come. Hopefully y'all will be going in person by then.
Nice. Okay, well, Pete, what about you?
You're on mute.
I've been bashing my head underneath the layout a little bit, trying to do some wiring and find the time to go through some of my kids and such that need a little bit of attention, and you know, that's about it for me.
All right. Is there anyone I missed, or
Frank joined.
who?
Frank?
Yeah,
Frank.
hi. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I been trying to get a switch hooked up. I had to put new switches in for my layout because my Challenger kept jumping the track on the switches. So I had to
That's no
put
fun.
in bigger switch. I had 9 switches I had to put in. I'm back down to 1. I got 1. I'm having a hard time lining up the pin and everything, getting it to work right. And keep getting it to close completely. It won't close completely, and I have to figure out how to wire it so that I can get around that open end switch there. But other than that, just sitting back and keeping safe.
Nice. Is there anyone else?
Rick?
Rick, yeah.
Oh, not a lot. I've been collecting some more kits and parts for my ON30. After last month's meeting with Frank Baker, I think it was.
Yeah.
And his layout, I became fascinated by the idea of cutting out sections of, I use the blue foam on top of plywood. And so I've started cutting out areas where I'm going to have buildings to construct and put the buildings on that to place in the layout. When I tore down my HO layout, that kind of became an issue where some of the buildings became too damaged because I had attached them so well to the layout. So that's kind of a little bit of what I've been doing. Not a whole lot this last month. Been kind of busy with work and a few other things. So
Yeah, that's good to hear that you're doing that. Okay, does John have some pictures to show?
Yeah, I think he may not know how, and I'm not sure if he can do it. Jim, I think you might need to stop sharing. Well, you're not sharing, actually. You're just a camera. So John can hear us. If John, there should be a sharing icon on your screen. It's at the bottom and it's green, has a box with an arrow pointing up. If you click on that, then you should be able to select a window that you've already got open. So you have to open your photos first, and then you could click on it. If that doesn't work, then type into the chat that you tried, and we'll know that it didn't work.
I was more suggesting that the next time he get a microphone, then he could at least talk to us.
I think he had some photos he wanted to show us, though, if he,
Yeah, he said he wasn't able to share them apparently. So
I told him how to call in so that he can have audio on his part.
In the meantime, you can if you can see my picture, you see I've got my aero train running,
yeah.
and I ran it around one of the loops. We're coming back around. And Mike's working on this section. I think it's down. Are you still down over here, Mike? Okay. Well, I'm going to back it up. Oh, we got a runway. What? No. That train just took off. We had a runway in the yard. I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm going to go around to the other areas. We're just going to do a walkthrough. Sorry. This is my pickle mill, the pickle salting facility. I have a lot more work to do. I've taken the cars off, but I've got a bunch of buildings to make still. This is a really cool loop that there's a couple staging yards and passing sidings. We're going to come back over here to, this is Mike McIntyre's module. He did it for the Walders contest last year. And he's got some really great details. And then I'm gonna come around. Jeff has his time saver running. And I know you've all seen that. This is actually one of my neighbors brought his grandchildren over. And so we've all seen, this is actually a new time saver that Jeff has built. And then over here he has a single nook. To answer John's question, we're in Orem. This is the last day of the show. This is NTRAK. Say hi, Aaron.
How's it going?
He's running some trains. The other day they had 104 ore cars. That's a lot of ore cars. This is the division layout that we started just before COVID, where we were doing the wiring and the track, and then a couple of the members took it home and did the scenery on it. We have been raffling it, or it's part of a raffle that we're gonna do the drawing today, and we're gonna build another one for the show in November to raffle. Jack, Lowell said he'll do it, but it's probably going to be his brother Jack, right? And here we have some T-TRAK. I'm on, Larry? We got a car derailed, jumped there. They're fixing it.
Gonna look at it.
We looked at it and it came off.
I don't know which pub I belong to. It derailed on Juan Lester's
Yeah, no,
display.
it derailed before that. I inherited these two and I'm started to refurbish them.
These two here,
Yeah,
I gotta talk to you about those two.
okay, later on.
Yeah.
You can see the ballast that's in there versus that's the original ballast.
All right, back
I'm gonna
up.
add some mountains and or rock faces and some other things. I also am replacing this upper track with the narrow gauge track. So I hand laid this in N3 code 40. And I may or may not have a reversing module that I'll put in just for those two. We'll see. We come back around to the other side. I really like how this guy put all the rock faces in there and all those trees. So that's our setup here. We're open to the public. Today's the last day, as I said. We're getting a bunch of people interested. Do we have any more questions or comments?
Looks like pretty good space, Jim.
Yeah, it's a very large space. It's been nice. Those that aren't familiar with Fremo, what's really cool is that the end plates are to a certain standard. And so last week we had the guy from Colorado that we also had at Evanston. He was here. He had his module set up on that side. And then when he left, because he was here for a week, we just moved some of the modules and put in some new ones and rearranged it. So it's not quite as long, but it's very similar. But because of that standard, it doesn't matter. We can connect and rearrange as needed. When we have our meet next time, we will be meeting up with some guys from Washington. And I've never met them, but we'll be able to hook our modules up together. And I know N Scale also has a standard called Fremo N. And T-TRAK, obviously, that also is a similar thing, but they just run in circles, and that's cool. But what's really nice is on this one you can have, like on my module, I can have the sidings and the industries and other things going on. Another thing that we're planning on doing is having another division car as a fundraiser. And it's a Bamberger box car we're looking at. You know, some people just we're in the beginning stages right now, but some people want 6. Other division cars, we've only, most people would just want 1. But since this is a short line or line that's in Utah or was, that some people want a bunch of them. One thing that's interesting is when I first started running with these guys, look at all those cars. And I had on my home layout, I have some nice refrigerated reefers, mechanical ones, and about 8 of their 67-foot HO, 8 of those would run really nice on my layout. but on here it looks like a really tiny train. And so I have a reason to buy more of those if I can find them now. They're hard to get at this point. So that's one. So when you think of, oh, I don't need 6 of the same boxcar, but if you're trying to recreate a prototypical scene, or you run on modules like this, you can really run lots of long trains, and you need lots of boxcars. So if you want more, let me know. We're going to take a tally. The minimum run is 50, and we're considering doing in and HO this year, whereas in years past, except for the convention, we only did HO. And to answer Rick's question, there is the scale I don't have. I think I have one car in is S, but I really like S scale. And yes, I like all scales, and I have almost everything in. I have something in almost every scale.
You got G scale?
I want to, but I don't yet. This is another example of this module. It's been around for years and years and years, but the owner said there still is a lot of details he wants to add to it. And there's a lot of great details on it, but there's still so much to do to it. And that's how I kind of feel about mine. I haven't worked on mine very much. I can set it up in my train room, although it gets a little crowded. It does fit to set it up so I can work on it in a nice environment, not just in the garage or in the unfinished basement. It is cool to be able to work on it, but sometimes we don't have much time. But the point is, I still can. I'm gonna see. I've got a picture of the boxcar that I was talking about.
Jim, I have one here that if we do a share screen, if that's close enough.
That'd work, yeah. So it's a pretty plain boxcar, but it's one that, you know, is specific to Utah. So I think that's all I have. Is there anything else? Anyone else? I mean, anything else anyone else wants to share? I apologize again for Charlie not being able to give his presentation, but we'll reschedule that and we'll get to hear what he has to say and what he's learned about doing decals. I did some decals the other day. Well, seems like the other day. It's probably been a year now. As I get older, time really flies.
I have a question about decals. My understanding is you have to have a special printer to print them and have them work. Is that true? And if so, what is the printer?
The answer is yes and no.
Okay.
You can print on any printer unless you want white.
Oh.
So there used to be a printer that was on the market that could print in white, that had a white cartridge. And there is a printer currently that's pretty expensive that you can like take out the black cartridge and put the white one. And so you have to specify a certain color in your file to use. You don't say I'm using white, you use that color, and it's difficult to do. What did John just say? Micromark came out with a printer?
Yeah, he said Micromark has a printer that prints white. We're talking about inkjet printers, correct, Jim? They have to be an inkjet.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are inkjet printers.
The other printer was the Alps.
Yeah, the Alps was the special one.
That was a dye sublimation printer.
Was that one? Okay.
It was a dye sublimation, so it would print off of a ribbon.
Yeah.
For the particular color you wanted.
Okay, so it sounds like there might be enough interest that they're doing a new one, or Micromark's trying to come out with one. Otherwise, if you just want black, like let's see, if you're printing something like that, yes, you can print those or those. But if you want to print one of these, then no.
I also think, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, that at one time, I don't know who was making it, there were some that had a decal material that was white, but you would have to basically determine all of the areas that you didn't want white, and then you would have to do a very tedious job of trimming everywhere that you didn't want white. If you were on a brown boxcar or something like that, it was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
to get that, so that like that BNSF there, so that all the areas that weren't. So unless you were printing to a white background, good luck.
And that reminds me, I have a plotter at work that can cut that out. And so I could do that, but it would be a decal material, like a sticker.
Right.
And I could do that, but it's so tiny and so detailed that it wouldn't come out well.
Yeah. So there is an option for certain people if you're doing certain graphics, and if you're going to a white background, but if you're not, it's going to be difficult.
And that's interesting. This looks white, but it's not. But over here, there's a little bit of white. So that's the answer, Charlie, to yes and no.
Thank you.
Micromark still makes the white decal paper. I've printed before a number of times with just make my note off the inkjet. One of the keys is to make sure that you spray it with a clear coat after you're done. Like I use the Tamiya clear coat on it, just the spray. Make sure that it won't, because if it gets wet down the road, then it will bleed. But I've never had any problem with it.
Lou, you spray it before you put it on the car, right?
Yes, correct. I'll spray it once and then usually if I'm doling down the car doing something, I'll put overspray on that. But yeah, once the decal is printed, then I spray it with the clear coat before I apply it.
Lou, would you mind doing a mini clinic at my home in June?
He's got to get back to Utah.
Yeah, sure. I can give it a shot. I'll be happy to. I'll run over there and come see y'all.
Okay, I'll put you down for June the 2nd, Saturday at 10 a.m. at my house, and we'll have a mini clinic because I've got some things that you can put decals on it or custom. I also like to mention that I have a mini clinic coming up in May, the 2nd Saturday in May. It'll be installing a DCC here at my home, and we'll be putting actual DCCs in your locomotive. So you got to bring in the chip, the locomotive, and your tools.
Hey, I've got to do.
What?
I have a couple I need to do.
All right. Well,
oh, great. Yeah, let me get back to you on that, Blaine, see if I can pull it off.
All right. In May, we're going to have a DCC clinic. So Jeff Carter's going to be instructing.
And then also, there's two other things I had forgotten about. One was Utah Fremo, the N Scale, is always looking for new modules. I know Kevin is, even though he's in HO, he started building some N Scale Fremo. So if you're interested, let Kevin know. And the Redwood Center finally got back to us. Blaine, what was it May? April, May or June?
Well, either I'm waiting for the board's decision on whether you want to start in May or start in June, but they're ready to start
That
accepting people.
didn't get on the agenda, and then we ran out of time regardless, so we'll have to send an email. But what are people's feelings that are on the call now? When would you rather start going back? The Redwood Centers said in May we could start meeting again, but we have to sit 6 feet apart from each other.
Yeah, we have some protocols we have to follow.
So there are some protocols. You do have to have masks on. And we'll have hand sanitizer there, etc. So would we rather meet in May or push that out to June or July?
Is there internet connectivity there that will enable us to have Zoom of the clinic or not?
I don't know, but at minimum, we could do what I'm doing now, phone.
My feeling is we probably ought to wait till June and give us some preparation time.
Okay. Anyone else?
My feeling is anytime, but please continue the Zoom. It's quite a ways from here to the Redwood Center.
Yeah. And that's what our
Even
plan.
further from me.
Yeah. Our plan is to try to continue doing Zoom when we do go back.
Because we did have a demo. We had a clinic at the Redwood Center a couple of years ago on DCC installations, and it was very difficult for anybody but the 2 or 3 people that were right next to the guy to see.
Well, this is why we're doing mini clinics. In fact, before the COVID, we discussed changing our events to having 2 or 3 mini clinics so people could bring in whatever they wanted to work on. They could either do airbrush or DCC or soldering techniques or whatever the problem was they were having. They could resolve it on a more person-to-person basis with a series of 4 or 5 mini clinics instead of just one big event, which turns into a lecture almost every time. And so that's kind of my thought is I've been having mini clinics in my home because there are things I needed to do, such as removing factory paint. You know, I needed to do that. I thought, well, if I do, somebody else does. And bingo, our clinic was full. Same way on applying decals. So our clinics are limited to 6 people here, but they're generally always full.
Okay. Any other thoughts as far as meeting? We'll probably push it back to at least June, and we'll have a email discussion with the board. Maybe even send out a survey to the whole division. I've had my shot, and I know a bunch of people have had theirs, but even still, we have to wear masks when we're there.
Most of us are older and we've had our rabies and distemper shot, so we should be good to go.
Yeah, the rabies was the one I was worried about most.
And even smallpox.
Yeah. We've got that taken care of. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I might have missed. I don't think there is. Anyone, last call for closing arguments?
I appreciate this so much. And I thank all of the people who participate in it and for their comments and advice. Thank you.
Good, I'm glad. You're welcome.
Charlie's one that comes to our mini clinics all the time.
Oh, good.
I appreciate the opportunity